Hi Gemini, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your Mercury retrograde reading for you. Now, I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, just hit the bell notification button. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will all be linked and listed in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading, and before we clear the energy space, remember to not respond to anybody who solicits you in the comment box below, pretending to be me, asking you if you would like a reading or anything like that. I'm actually closed to private readings at this time and will not be soliciting you for absolutely any reason at all. That is not my style. Okay, so now let's begin. Let's clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds, letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as you enter into this safe and loving space. All right, let's let the bowl sing as we see what the tarot has to say. How will Gemini be affected by Mercury retrograde, January 30th to February 21st, 2021? How will Gemini be affected by Mercury retrograde, January 30th to February 21st, 2021? How will Gemini be affected by Mercury retrograde, January 30th to February 21st, 2021? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Oh, goodness. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels. Fantastic. And let's see what your chakra energy says for this time here, Gemini. How will Gemini be affected by Mercury retrograde, January 30th to February 21st, 2021? How will Gemini be affected by Mercury retrograde, January 30th to February 21st, 2021? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. Now, Gemini, I have to say, out of all the signs, Mercury retrograde hits you one of the hardest, or if not the hardest, because your sign is in Mercury. It is ruled by Mercury. And so during this time when Mercury is in retrograde, you feel it more than other people do, because also you're so communicative. You really are. You have this way with words, you have this way with connecting with people. And so for the signs that are more communicative, this time period hits you more than it hits others. And also note that we come into pre-retrograde. It begins on January 15th. So if you're like me, very sensitive to Mercury retrograde, very sensitive to the stars and the planets and everything like that, you can actually feel it starting to come in now. And it can be really frustrating because you're sitting there and you're like, no, I have till the 30th before things start getting a little bit topsy-turvy. But this is a time that tends to hit Geminis more hard than others. And also, if you are sensitive, this is going to come up, especially during this time. Okay, so with that said, we have rebirth, the Earth Star Chakra. We then have relationships, the Sacral Chakra. So you're reborn within relationships, which is really, really cool. And then we have personal power. This is the solar plexus chakra. So there is a strength that comes out of this Mercury retrograde that you're not really expecting. And this is because this Mercury retrograde is a time, and all Mercury retrogrades are a time when the subconscious comes forward. And that's when we start to see, like, where we have problems with communication, where we have problems with certain things. That's our subconscious coming forward, because the astrologer Aaron Sullivan has discovered that the time Mercury spends in retrograde and in direct equals the time humans spend awake and asleep. So this is a time that for us to take stock of our subconscious self. This is a time for when we really start to look at who it is that we are, where it is that we want to be, the problems that we're having, the walls that we're running up against. Because we as human beings, we don't learn all the time through, everything being nice and easy, though I wish we did. We learn through the intensity of things. And that Mercury retrograde is almost an acceleration of the learning process and also of the soul process then. Now, the left-hand side here is your inner self. The middle is your heart, your emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what it has to say. We have the 10 of waters, the 10 of cups. So you start off with and they all live happily ever after, which is brilliant. You then have the Knight of Fire, fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. You have the Strength card, so strong Leo presence here. Time frame July 23rd to August 22nd. You have the Page of Air, so you're coming through as a student during this time, logical, honest, impulsive, and curious, which definitely describes Gemini. Then we have the Three of Water, the Three of Cups, the Queen of Earth, the Queen of Pentacles, Earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. You have the Emperor, so also now strong Aries energy coming forward. Leo and Aries, both fire sign energies. You have the Nine of Wands, the Nine of Fire. You have the Six of Earth, the Six of Pentacles. The Queen of Water, water sign energy, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer. The King of Fire, okay, so this line, Spirit said it's going to be all fire before, and I thought, oh no, don't do that to Gemini, but it is, it's all fire. So there's this extreme intensity, but it makes you a king. It really does. So this is like being forged. And I know that's not what anybody wants to hear. We've come out of 2020. It's been a trying year, and it's continued, with this trying time coming forward. And so here, what you're looking at with the King of Fire is the sense of, it says here, motivational, idealistic, ambitious, and charismatic. You're looking at that energy of what it is that you want, leading you in strength and in claiming the throne of yourself. But it's in that fire, it's in that determination, it's in that focus that things come forward. You are dealing with a lot of people here. Fire sign energies, most definitely, earth sign energies, water sign energies, but you are also dealing with this severe sense of claiming your spot. You have the Queen energy very strong here. You also have this balance by the Emperor and the King energy. So there's a part of you that is going to be center stage during this time, even if you don't want to. And there's a part of you that's going to be kind of more reserved, more of the director. So the King for me is the actor. upon the stage, the queen, the director behind the scenes. So you're going to have that little bit of a balance here, that little bit of a fight between being seen and not being seen, knowing what it is that you want, and then sitting there and saying, I need to have more time to think about this, more time to move myself forward in the direction that is right for me. But there is a sense here of being pushed forward during this Mercury retrograde. And you're not going to want to upset anybody. You're not going to want to step on anybody's toes, which is one of the things that people get wrong with Gemini. They sit there and they look at Gemini and they say, oh my gosh, you're interested in so many different things. You flitz around like a butterfly. So there's not that stability, there's not that security. And it's kind of like, okay, fine, you can look at it that way. But Gemini knows when to leave when they're bored. It's like, I can't do this, I need to move forward in the way that's right for me. And Gemini, you also know when the situation around you isn't giving you the love that you want. And that's something that's hard for people to understand. And during Mercury retrograde, when words can be tangled and muddled, and words are your lifeblood, they're something that is so powerful, so important to you, that when words aren't going right, when things aren't going right, you find yourself, sitting there and saying, why am I wasting my time? If I know that this is just going to lead to a fight, why would I stay? And that is a very mature way, Gemini, for you to be dealing with situations, for you to kind of step back and say, why is it that I would be here during this? It's not running away from people that you love or anything like that. It's stepping back and saying, I need this time to rethink, to regroup, and to move myself forward. So let's see here the people that you have to be mindful of. And it's not the people. During this time, it's the energy that you have to be mindful of during this Mercury retrograde. Gemini. Who does Gemini, what energy does Gemini have to be mindful of during Mercury retrograde, January 30th to February 21st, 2021? What energy does Gemini have to be mindful of during Mercury retrograde, January 30th to February 21st, 2021? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Now, what's cool about this Mercury retrograde is that it's going to be a calmer Mercury retrograde because Mercury retrograde is in Aquarius, and Mercury retrograde likes being in Aquarius. The next Mercury retrograde to come is during the Gemini time period. So it's going to enhance the Mercury retrograde, and it's going to enhance its impact on you. So not for you to be afraid of anything, just for you to know that this is a time when what your subconscious needs with how divinity wants you to move forward comes to the forefront during this time. It's going to hit you a bit harder, okay, during the Gemini time frame when Mercury retrograde comes again. So it's kind of like this is a practice run almost. So we have here Aquarius energy. So for you, I laugh because I just said, that Mercury retrograde is in Aquarius. It makes things calmer. But Aquarius tends to be rather aloof. So when Aquarius isn't in its proper place or, moving forward in its advanced form, Aquarius can be rather aloof. Or when they're upset or, stressed out about something, Aquarius can be rather aloof. And that's what you're going to be dealing with during this time. And the reason, Gemini, why it affects you more than it affects others to have this aloofness come forward is because you operate in the realm of love. You are represented by the lovers in the major arcana, okay? You will sacrifice for those that you love. You will put you on the back burner, even though people don't understand that about you. You will put things on the back burner. You will, push things forward so that what you love and what you need can come to the forefront of who it is that you are. And so here with the aloofness, that's going to be something that is very challenging for you to deal with during this time. And it leads you then to the Lord. So you have a very powerful and prominent Emperor energy right here. And then here with the energy of the Emperor coming forward of Aries, which is a time frame of March 21st to April 19th. This is an energy that says, I am right. I sit on this throne. I know what it is that I want. I know who it is that I am. And nothing is going to keep me from my goals. It's like just astounding stubbornness. Now, my nephew is an Emperor, is an Aries. And I swear to you, he's not even too stubborn as a mule. So it can be that you're running up against something like that, where, you're sitting there and you're like, okay, well, we have to do this. And it's like, no, I don't want to. And they mean it. And so it can be coming up against that energy, even if it's as sweet as apple pie. You're going to be sitting there and being a little bit frustrated with it. Now, if this is a boss, that's going to be even harder because you can't sit there and kind of say, okay, fine, we're just going to sit this out, see how it turns out. This is going to be somebody who's like, no, this is the way I do it. I'm micromanaging this situation. Communication isn't going to be clear, but when communication isn't clear, it's going to be blamed on you and not them. And this is a person who says, I have a right to rule over your life and your existence. So this is somebody who's either going through something, and so they're just going to try and rule over you in a very powerful way, in a way that gives them control back where they're not having control. Or this is a person who is just so terribly stubborn, Gemini, that you're going to find it very hard to speak to them. You're going to sit there and be like, wow, that isn't what I anticipated. And then it moves you to the Prince of Pentacles, slowly, steadily building a foundation, but slowly and steadily moving forward. And this is going to be a person that's kind of like, well, that doesn't make sense to me. And you're going to sit there and be like, okay, it doesn't make sense to you, but it makes sense to me. So why can't I move forward this way? And they're going to just kind of say no. They're going to say, no, I need it to be like this. And this energy is somebody who's not willing to bend, who sees the cause and effect the way that they see it, the way that they want it. And it's not going to be right. It's not going to be right for you. And they don't care. So that is something that you're going to have to be very mindful of, because you're actually coming out of this retrograde, even though you have a lot of challenges here. And kind of like the haters are going to hate is what this time period is saying. And you're going to try and sit there and make everybody happy and say, oh, okay, I can just change this for that person and I can do this for this person, because you're moving forward and you're saying and you're seeing that there is a happiness, there is a joy, there is a prosperity around you that you are reaching for. And you are being reborn into that power, into that understanding. But if you change yourself for everybody else, if you bend over backwards for everybody else, and they're not even trying, because the Six of Earth right here is really showing that there is not an equal give and take, that you can give and give and give. But if nobody gives in return, if nobody sits there and says, okay, we need to balance this out, and we need to make sure that it's fair for you, Gemini, as well as for everybody else, or, something to that effect, you will find that the scales are completely unbalanced, and you will find that you get very, very frustrated. And it takes away the learning experience of the Mercury retrograde, and it puts it just into a time of frustration, just into a time of, are you kidding me? Type of thing. And you're going to find that you swallow your words because you want to keep the peace, and because you sit there and say, oh, I can see where that person's coming from, or I can see how they might think that. And so you'll swallow your words until you explode. And that's going to be something that doesn't help you at all. It will hinder you. It'll make you feel like, wow, I could have handled that situation better. So you'll start beating yourself up. And this here is where you are reborn with the Earth Star Chakra. It's connecting to your roots. It's connecting to what's so important to you, so valuable to you as you're moving forward. And it's connecting to what grounds you in this world. And so you are reborn, you are transformed, you are seeing things more openly, you are seeing things more honestly, and you are looking at things in alignment for yourself, in alignment for who you want to be and where you want to be, soul, body, and spirit. And so with the rebirth of the Earth Star Chakra, you are actually being reborn more into your authentic self. And you're seeing that really connect with the relationships that you are having and with your relationships as a whole. So the sacral chakra is where a lot of negative energy is held from this life and from past lives. And it builds up and it becomes this roadblock that we have, these things where we sit there and we say, well, I know I want this relationship, or I know I want this friendship, or I know I want to be connecting this way, but I have just such trouble with that happening. And so with the relationship, with the sacral chakra, you are going to see that you're looking at those roadblocks that you haven't really been able to figure out. It's like, I don't understand why I always get hurt, or I don't understand why I trust people who I shouldn't trust, or I don't understand why, I've been in love before and it always worked out this way, but with this person, we can't seem to move past, to that really deep, heartfelt connection. Because Gemini, if you don't have that mental, that spiritual connection, you don't have anything. In your opinion, it's hollow, it's empty. And that's with every relationship. It's not just with a partner, a sexual partner. It's with every relationship that you have. There needs to be a depth and a breadth to it. And here, you are looking at the generational curses that have held you back, the negativity that was spoken over you, the anger from a parent. Okay, Gemini, that is something that affects you greatly. It affects other people too, of course. But because you are such a person who builds off of love, who moves through love, who says, well, this is how I saw love, and this is how I saw things are supposed to be. If you have a wound in that arena, if your first love like just absolutely broke your heart, and you have that wound, you're going to find that you find wound mates. You find people that perpetuate that wound until it is addressed, until it is spoken, until it is cleared. And that's what you're doing during this time. And it's not only generationally, okay? It's not only within your DNA. It's from your past lives. So if you do meditation and you go back and you see like in your past lives that it was all about order and rules, because that's the way that you survived. Because it wasn't about love. It wasn't about connection. It was about order and rules, because there might not have been love there. You find that that's what you bring forward, needing those orders and those rules, which then doesn't give you that spiritual connection, that, that warm blanket, that snuggly closeness that you need as a Gemini. And people might not know you need, because you go from thing to thing. You search, you seek, you become, you are. And so here, you're healing a lot that has been passed down over you, that has been spoken over you, negativity that has held you back, that has made you doubt even that you deserve love in any arena. And you can see that it actually perpetuates into all areas of your life. If you don't think you're worthy of love from a partner, then you find that also you don't think you're worthy of, or you find jobs where they don't respect you the way that they should. And you find friends that talk over you and dismiss you. And this is something that you're saying, you know what? No, it's enough. It's enough. And you change those relationships. You change what you expect from yourself and what you take from others. And it can be a very small shift, but it's a very powerful shift. And it leads you to claiming your personal power. It leads you to healing a lot of the scars within your sacral chakra, which brings forward this beautiful sexual energy and also brings forward this beautiful creativity, which Gemini, that is where you thrive. You thrive in the sensuality of being, and you thrive in the creativity of self. And that moves you to a place of power. And also really following your gut. It's like, this is what my gut sees. This is my gut feel about things. This is how I need to move forward for me. This is how I need to see things for me. This is how I need to embrace my power and my truth. And that's what brings you to the 10 of Cups. That's what brings you to, and they all live happily ever after. This bounty, this brilliance, this power, this purpose leading you forward. And you had thought, no, that's not for me. Or you thought, you gave up on it. You thought, I just can't have it. I'm too old. I'm too, inexperienced. I don't have the right training for this. This is where you're seeing those curses that were placed over you. When you were small, okay, when you were vulnerable, when you just trusted the person so much that their words had such power to them. You're going to see that you're breaking away from that. Now, it doesn't happen all at once. It can lead to needing to talk to somebody, to talk it out. It can lead to needing to journal it or to do kind of like vlog recordings, okay, on your phone or, wherever, where you can talk and hear yourself and work things out however your mind works. If it's writing, great. If it's talking, great. But it leads you to sitting there and saying, I deserve my happily ever after. And it doesn't have to be the traditional, white picket fence, little cute house, 2.2 children, everything like that. It doesn't have to be that at all. It can be just a place of love and respect and kindness and prosperity, and a place where you start to see yourself moving forward in blessings. You start to see your truth coming forward. And it leads you to the happiness within your story, the happiness within your understanding. And it leads you here to the King of Fire, which is passionate, okay, adventurous, self-assured, and a little bit restless. So here, as you're moving forward and you're finding this, it's like, I'm fighting for this truth. And this is where the haters come in. This is where the people sit there and say, you don't get to have your happily ever after. You don't get to have what makes you happy within life. Where's that guilt that I'm so used to? Where's that, where's that agreeableness that just swallowed the words and said, oh, okay, I don't want to make waves type of thing. Now they're seeing you move forward in your passion, move forward in what you desire, and embracing this fire. And this fire for you is so important during this time. It's like, this is your Mercury retrograde. This is a time where communications can be topsy-turvy, but this is a time where you look at what is most valued to you. You look at where things kind of get muddled the most, and you say, I'm untying that Gordian knot. Is that the right word for it? I don't know. But you're untying this mess that has been there for too long. And as you untie it, you start to see yourself exhale. You start to see yourself say, oh my gosh, this is what I wanted. This is what I need. This is my rightful path. And it leads you to a place of strength. And why Spirit had me say before, like, oh no, not all fire sign, like all in a row, because there's an intensity to this Mercury retrograde that shows that if this is the softer Mercury retrograde, which it is, when we look at the stars, then the next Mercury retrograde is going to be very intense. And I don't want to get you worried about it because, it's all the way in the Gemini time period, which of course is May 21st to June 20th. And I can't remember the exact date of the next Mercury retrograde, but it is something that has you here really becoming that warrior you. And you have that tendency as an air sign energy. You are a sign represented by the swords in the minor arcana. And that is the only depiction, there we go, in the tarot that can only be a weapon. So what's so interesting is that you have the weapon of the swords coming forward, and then you have the dichotomy of being represented by the lovers in the major arcana. So you have this weapon and you have this love. And so it's this violence and you have this sensuality, this truth, this brilliance coming forward. And these are two very big aspects of your personality. Now, it can be the poetry of lovemaking that comes forward within you and that people see about you, this sensuality, this embrace, this sense of beauty and connection and commitment, but also of penetration and screaming and wildness and, and power. And these are things that are so intrinsically a part of you that if you deny one or if you deny the other, you deny a very big portion of yourself. So here, when you move forward in strength, you are going to see that your strength isn't like everybody else's strength. Your strength is this beauty of creation, this beauty of understanding and intoxication of being and this sense of discovery and searching. And you're not going to find things the same way that other people find things. You're not going to see things the same way that other people see things. And that's not wrong. It's just simply you. And your strength here is not through brute force strength. It's not through you have to see things that the way that I see things. It's through discovery. It's through exploration. It's through being true to yourself. It's through walking gently. It's through a kindness of a word, but also of a way of being. And it's through the intensity of the duality of human spirit and the duality of human self. And so here, as you're moving forward with this fire, with this strength, with this view of your inner self, saying, what is my happiness? What is it that I want? And it doesn't mean that once you pick a path, you can never change it, because you most definitely can. It means as you see this path that is your truth at this moment, you embrace it. You look at it and say, this is the way that I need to move forward. This is the way that I need to be. And that strength, that determination, that opening, that kind of taming, not taming, but being led by that tiger, being led by that irrefutable sense of oneness. And it can be that aloofness that you are kind of taming within this Aquarius time period of Mercury retrograde, that you're seeing things openly, honestly, truthfully, and powerfully for yourself. And as you do so, you become the student. And the student, again, is logical, honest, impulsive, and curious. You are the student of the swords. You are the student of air. And this very much fits you. You're curious, you're a bit impulsive, impetuous at times, people might say, where you're looking at things and you're kind of breaking the mold. You're seeing things differently. You're seeing things more truthfully for yourself, more openly, more honestly. You're looking at what it is that you desire from life, where you want to be. And the question is, why? Why do I want this? And why can't I go after it? So it's why and why not at the exact same time. And you might be your own worst enemy at this time, because you are going to let other people's opinions of strength, of power, of determination come in and really have an effect on you. And that's within your heart. It's going to be like, oh, I can't do that. Like, I can't move forward that way. And Spirit is really saying here, don't give up. Don't give up on who it is that you are. Look at all the battles that you have been through, because you're crowned with a battle. You're rooted with a battle. And you're embracing a tremendous power here. when it comes to the center of your heart itself, when it comes to the center of your emotional truth. So with the Three of Water, for me, the Three of Water, they're the people that celebrate you. And they're the people who were supposed to celebrate you that just couldn't. It's that parent that never had a nice word for you. It is that teacher that made you feel terrible about yourself. It is that aunt, that grandparent, the uncle that, you couldn't trust or that was always nasty. It's the friend that betrayed you. It's the lover that broke your heart. It's the people that were supposed to be in your corner, but they can't seem to raise that glass. And it's the hurt that they give you. It's the devastation of soul. And so here with the Three of Water, with the Three of Cups, what you're looking at is you're looking at those voices that come in when you're embracing the relationships that you want, when you're embracing the power that you desire. And it's the way that you kind of get pushed back. You get denied. You get, overwhelmed with what other people are saying. And you think, I can't do this, can I? I can't because my heart is broken. And when your heart is broken, it feels like it will never mend. But the heart is meant to be broken because the heart is meant to know how much it can love, how far it can go. We as human beings were meant to get broken along the way, to have doubts, to have fears, to feel overwhelmed, to question, to seek, to desire, and to be betrayed. And it sounds so odd to say, but if you look at the world's religions, we have betrayal as a motif. And of course, you can sit there in Christianity and say the betrayal by Judas to Christ. And there's the sense here that if we weren't betrayed, then we couldn't reach our greatness. And it sounds so odd to say, but it is so open. It is so honest. If Buddha, if Siddhartha, who became Buddha, wasn't in a way betrayed by his father, who said, I don't want you to be a mystic. I want you to be a great king. So I'm going to take away all that could be around you that could show you pain or hurt or disappointment. If he was made to think that life was a fairy tale and that no one ever grew old, no one ever got hurt, no one ever got sick, then maybe he wouldn't have been so shocked when he saw poverty and sickness and hurt and age. He would have said, that's part of life. I understand it. But it set him on a path that set him on a road that his father so wanted to keep him from. And so here, it's like through the heartbreak, we see the way that we will rise. We see the place that we will be. But we have to stop letting that heartbreak, letting the words of negativity spoken over us be the words that echo in our head like a bell, that sit there and say, I told you you couldn't do it. I told you nobody would love you. I told you you weren't smart enough, pretty enough, this enough, that enough. And it's looking at it and saying, enough is enough. You don't get to rule my life. You spoke negativity over my heart. You broke my heart once. You don't get to continuously break my heart because that's not okay. And then you start to move. And you move into the place of the Queen of Earth. It says thoughtful, creative, warm, sensible. And that's what you start to embrace, this thoughtful, creative, warm, sensible aspect of your life. How do I create my dreams? How do I move myself forward? Where is it that I want to be? What is it that I desire? Who is it that I am? And so with the Queen of Earth, you ground yourself, okay? You ground yourself in your dreams, in your hopes, in your wishes, in your ideas, in your determination, in your understanding, okay? And you sit there and you start to see the way things are interconnected, especially the way that pain has been interconnected within your life. And I know that we all want a life without pain, a life without suffering. But there's this saying, and isn't it by, I forget, the person who wrote Witches and the BFG. Is it him? I think so. Where he says, if you do not believe in magic, you can never find it. And it's like, if you do not see wonder through the pain, through the sorrow of this earth, through the upset, through the disappointment, you can never live magic. And I think I have the wrong person saying that. But it's calling forward the magic that we need in our lives. After the hurt, after the pain, after the disappointment. But it's having your heart broken for the world of magic to come forward. Because it would never come forward. The world where you start to sit there and you start to see that there is strength within yourself, that the God's head is planted within you, that dreams can become possible, that there is power to your truth, and that if you fall, you get back up. Because one of the things about human beings, and we see this in psychology, is that once we hit resistance, once we fail as individuals, it's very hard to get back up again. It's that one good fail. You could come out of school, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, thinking, I'm going to conquer the world. And then you have that one really good fail that most people have, like most everybody has. And it can just cripple you. And so here, it's looking at the failures that have come at you and saying, wow, I wasn't crippled. Okay? Oh, yes, I was broken, but I put myself together. And now I'm looking at being the queen of my prosperity, of holding my bounty, of holding my truth, of people seeing that, because people are going to be very drawn to you during this time, Gemini, and seeing you as really having your stuff together. And that's going to be why you have to beware of haters. You have to beware of people who are going to wish you ill, because they're going to sit there and say, in a time that is so topsy-turvy, how come you seem to be weathering the storm? Because you've already been through the storm, right? And so here you start to claim your throne. You start to say, I might not be the best person in the world to rule, but definitely nobody else is going to rule over my life. Nobody else is going to have this say. And that's where this huge strength comes in. And it becomes a determination of heart. It becomes a determination of mind. It becomes an opening of a door, a greater insight, a greater idea. And the thing is that other people's ideas, other people's ways of seeing things can pull you back, can make you doubt the way that you're moving forward, can make you doubt that you've won any battles, that anything will ever be different. And so you have to stay true to your heart, and you have to address the heartbreaks, the pains, the disappointment, and kind of call them to the forefront. Think of the voice of your father or your mother or whomever it was that hurt you while you were growing up, and that made you doubt yourself and kind of left this hole of doubt. It made you think, well, there's nothing really good about me. There's nothing really special. There's nothing really prosperous. I don't have any gifts. I don't have any talents. Bring it to the forefront and say, why are you here? Why is this thought here? And when you first manifest that thought forward, and you can visualize it speaking to you in a room, in a garden, in a forest, wherever it is that you want to be. And once you give it a face, right? And it can take the face of, let's say, your father, right? It can take the face of your father. But then as you start to talk to it and you start to hear all the negative things that that person used to say to you, about you, everything like that, it starts to change. And you say, okay, but you don't get to be that person. You're not him. Who is it that you are? Who is it? Why is it that you are in the forefront of my mind? And the Mercury retrograde, which has conversation turned topsy-turvy, gives you the imagery of somebody you don't like or you fear or caused you great stress in your life. And then as you talk to it and as you work through it, because things are muddled, all right, and you become accustomed to the muddled, you start to give it the face that it needs. You start to have it claim its own way forward, its way of protecting you. I don't want you to fail. So if I never let you forget that, somebody very important to you or who was supposed to protect you said that you couldn't, then I don't have to worry. I don't have to worry about being hurt like that again. I don't have to worry about that being a humiliation that I have to face one more time. And you're going to find here that if you call to the forefront a lot of the hurt, a lot of the negativity, a lot of the despairs of others, when you call that to the forefront, you start to see yourself slaying those dragons, beating down and breaking the wings of what was flying around you. And then you claim a victory over what has been such a long and powerful battle. And so when the words of others and the world of others does not become your world. And that's one of the reasons why in your inner self, you're moving towards your dreams. Because it's like, oh, wow, I can do that, can't I? Like, I can move forward that way. And then in the public arena, you need to balance things. You need it because you're going to be so inclined to say, I give and give and give. Or I can sacrifice this. Or, that's okay. I don't need to. I can run on fumes, right? I don't need to sleep. I don't need to eat well. I don't need to take care of myself. And your body's going to start to tell you, oh, yes, you do. Also, your mind is going to start to tell you, oh, yes, I do. You're going to start to see things happening. You're going to start to see stresses coming that make you reevaluate things, make you really reevaluate what you can give and what you can't give and how you can move forward and where it is that you need to be, and calling forward that balance of self and that understanding of soul. And so in the public arena, you have to, during this Mercury retrograde, and you're going to find it astoundingly difficult, but you have to listen to your heart. You have to listen to your mind, and you can't think, oh, it's a challenge. Well, I'm going to fight that battle, because that's going to be your initial reaction. I'll show you that I can handle anything. It's like the person that says, this is really hard, you might not want to do it. And you're going to take it as a challenge. And you're going to sit there and say, well, it's really hard for everybody else. I can do it. I'm better than that, right? And I mean, it's kind of like pride gets in the way, ego gets in the way. We've all had it happen. You're going to have to be very mindful of this during this retrograde Mercury, Gemini, because Mercury is so high within you, okay, is so powerful that what is being communicated can always seem like a challenge, but also worded as such a little trick. It's kind of like, well, can you do this? Can you do that? And you're going to see it in a way like, wow, they tricked me. They tricked me into looking at it this way. It tricked me into thinking of it like this. So keeping things balanced is going to be so very important, because your emotions are really on display during this time. This is a very sensitive, very powerful time for you. And it has you embracing, tenderheartedness, empathic, empathetic, patience, empathetic being, patience of self, and your loving disposition coming forward. And that's going to be as you fight for what it is that you want, as you ground yourself in your thoughtfulness and your creativity and your warmth and sensibility. You need to think with your heart in the public arena, which can be very, very hard, especially when the rest of the world isn't. And when people don't think that being a sensitive, caring, compassionate person is anything to write home about. They want the warrior. They want the person who will get the deals, who will bring in the money, who will do all of this stuff. And if you're kind of stepping back and saying, I need things to be more balanced, I need things to be more fair, I need to take note of my emotional, well-being and my emotional self, and I need to embrace my heart, my soul, and my essence. That becomes a very powerful way for you to judge things, for you to look at things. It's kind of like weigh it against your heart. And you're not going to want to do that, Gemini, because you're going to think, oh my gosh, I'm not able to carry everything. You're not supposed to carry everything. So weighing it against your heart will tell you at times, one more thing, I can't do it. So you might find during this time, and it sounds funny to say, but even putting away the laundry can become a monumental task because it's one more thing. But if you step back and you start to view yourself with love, with peace, with understanding, and saying, step by step, inch by inch, I can do this. The first part is becoming aware. The second part is listening to your heart. And then you see yourself with the King of Fire. This is motivational, idealistic, ambitious, and charismatic. You start to see yourself having this duality come forward. So people are going to sit there and think, you can handle everything, Gemini. But there's a sensitivity to you that either they'll try to manipulate, they'll try to take advantage of, or they just won't see. They won't see how deeply you're affected by things, how deeply you take things, how personally you take things, how you want to fix everything. So during this Mercury retrograde, there's a sense of embracing the power of your heart, but also the passion of yourself, of finding that balance, of finding, this power couple of love and hope and understanding and passion and truth and determination to lead you forward. And you're going to find that as you do that, you're crowned with the number 6, you're rooted with the number 6. So divinity is with you, most definitely. There is a strong sense of nurturing around you, of caring, of compassion, a very strong connection with the sacred feminine. And it moves you to the 6 of water. The 6 of water, for me, is looking at things and not being stuck in the past. And that's going to be very big for you, because you're going to sit there and say, well, that's how this feels. This is what I'm able to kind of judge it against. So we're brought back to the past hurts, past pains, past disappointments. And it's sitting there and saying, I'm breaking that cycle now. I'm breaking that way of looking at things. It's also not being so nostalgic as to sit there and think, oh, but it was better when. It's like, okay, well then when is over. It is now. How do I move forward? Where is it that I need to be? What is it that I desire? What peace, honor, and compassion am I calling forward? And you're going to find that that's the way that you find yourself motivated by love. And that's going to be the way that you combat this Mercury retrograde that can kind of punch you in the teeth at times, And you sit there and you say, how do I move forward in the love, the compassion, the understanding that I need? Because you have here 2 queens, okay? You have an emperor and a king. So there's absolute strength and determination here. 2 sixes with love, compassion. You're going to find, again, you just have that tendency, especially in the public arena, you have that tendency of sitting there and saying, I will sacrifice. And that's why you need to balance the scales. That's why you need to sit there and say, okay, pulling it back, connecting with me. What is it that I want? What is it that I need? Where is it that I need to be? And during this Mercury retrograde, when you get into disagreements with people, okay, when tiffs are had, you're going to find that you need to step back and say, am I coming at this too emotionally? You know, what is it that I need to move me forward? What is it that I desire? You step back, you connect with your heart, you connect with your emotions, and you will find that the confusion starts to fall away, that the real words of what are being said, the real desire of what you need start to come forward, and the real desires of what the other person is saying, of what they need, start to come forward. And you can solve the problem. And it's actually going to make the Mercury retrograde time be this tremendous learning experience, this tremendous empowerment, and this strengthening of relationships. It's kind of like if somebody talks badly about you, instead of sitting there and taking taking the person's opinion, it can be going to other people and say, wait a minute, is this true? And if they say, well, yeah, it is. If you don't feel like you can confront the person. But if you're close to that person, sit there and say, you know, what the heck is going on here? You know, this is what I'm hearing. And that person might look at you and be like, they completely misconstrued what I said. You know, they took it out of context. I was complaining for 5 seconds, and now it's become this whole big thing. It's not, you know, let me clarify this for you. And that's going to be what you need to do in this situation, in this time, to move forward towards your bounty, because you are ending a cycle, and you really are ending a cycle when it comes to emotions of kind of being run through the mill. And now you're seeing what it is that you truly want, because you know very succinctly and distinctly what it is that you do not want. So let's go deeper. How will Gemini be affected by Mercury retrograde? January 30th to the 21st, 2021. How will Gemini be affected by Mercury retrograde? January 30th to the 21st, 2021. How will Gemini be affected by Mercury retrograde? January 30th to the 21st, 2021. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. 1 bonus card. Fantastic. Okay. And let's look here at the people, at the energy that will be aiding you during this time. What is the energy that will be aiding Gemini during Mercury retrograde, January 30th to February 21st, 2021? What is the energy that will be aiding Gemini during Mercury retrograde, January 30th to February 21st, 2021? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Fantastic. So we have here the Princess of Wands. Fire sign energy is a very good energy for you during this time. I do know that we have to be mindful of the Lord here, but it's domineering energy that you need to be mindful of. This energy of questioning, of creativity, this is going to be a place where you feel very much at home during this time. So it's passion, it's creativity, it's deeper understanding, fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. You are embracing this way of being reborn, re-inspired, and you're going to find things that start connecting you with something from your past, like something from your past that was very powerful, very brilliant, very beautiful. You're going to see yourself in small ways, and maybe even in large ways, being connected with that and saying, well, why can't I bring that forward again? Why can't I carve out time for this? Because my soul needs it. Or you find your mind starting to be very curious about this way of moving forward, this idea, this understanding. And it leads you then to the Queen of Swords, air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. This is the energy of the warrior queen. This is the energy of, I know what I want. I know that I'm in my element. This is who I am. And I'm embracing that power, that determination, that focus, and that being. So you're going to be very inspired by people, even if just for a moment, because you're going to be able to see it. It's like there's an aura around them, there's an essence around them that draws you in, Gemini, where you see that they're in their element. It's like for a moment, they're exactly where they were meant to be. This is exactly what they were meant to be doing. And it leads you then to being very inspired by Taurus energy, but also, Taurus energy, the Hierophant, April 20th to May 20th, people who sit there and say, this is my truth. This is who I am. It might not always make sense, because the way people are put together, the ideas that they have, the inspirations that guide them, they don't always make sense. But this is going to be a person that says, I have power, I have grace, I have determination, I have focus, I have understanding, and it builds me, it molds me, and it has molded me. And this is what I want from life. This is what I desire for myself. This is the passion that moves me forward. This is my great idea and ideal. Then we have here the Ace of Swords, the Three of Cups, the Three of Swords. Oh, interesting. You have the Five of Cups, the Two of Coins, of Pentacles, the Nine of Swords, the Queen of Cups again over the Queen of Cups, so that's very powerful. The Queen of Wands over the King of Wands, so that's very powerful here. The Nine of Swords. Not the Nine of Swords, the Nine of Cups. Right here, Nine of Swords and the Nine of Cups coming forward. Then we have the Ten of Swords. Interesting. You've reached a completion when it comes to your mind too. It's like you've been in that place of overkill just for way too long. And I'm actually seeing this as an overview of going deeper. Okay, so the 10 of Winter, the 10 of Swords is this place of overkill. This is a place of like intensity. And you're looking at this and you're saying, what knowledge have I gathered? How is it that I am changed from where I was 10 years ago? Heck, where you were 10 months ago, you're not the same person. And you might sit there, and for some, it's a really good thing. And for others, it's not so good a thing. You might be very remorseful. But you're seeing here that there's a power to you. You have the repeat of the number 3 within your inner self. So divinity most definitely walks with you. With betrayals from others, okay, with the 3 of Cups, with heartbreaks, pains, and disappointments, there's a truth that's cutting through. And there's a sense here of, why did I have to go through this? And you might be saying that a lot, like, why do I have to go through this? Why do I have to face this? What the heck is going on here? And I can actually feel like it makes you rather mad. It's like, what did I do wrong? And the fact of the matter is, Gemini, you didn't do anything wrong. Divinity was preparing you, was lining you up. If you didn't go through these hardships, if you didn't go through these dark nights of the soul, okay, you would not be ready for the change that comes. You will not be ready for the place that you are supposed to stand. And it might be a very quiet, gentle, peaceful place that you are supposed to stand. But if you didn't go through the transformation, if you didn't have your soul opened to compassion, to not being too generous. And I know that sounds very odd to say, because we want to be generous of spirit, and we think that that's a very good thing. It is. But there is also a point, especially when you're born with this sensitivity and this generosity, okay, and this, power of the Lover's card. When you're born under this card, you want to bring love forward into the world. You want to make things a happier place, and you will do that at the expense of you. And so here, it's kind of like learning to hold things back, just a bit, so that you have a nourishment of your soul, so that you have a connection with your heart, with what you desire, with what you need. Because the Ace of Winter, the Ace of Swords, is this cutting through this doubt, this despair, this hardship, this pain. And again, you have the tiger walking with you. It's very important. You have this ferocity, but also, you know, tigers are very solitary creatures. They don't sit there and live in packs. They kind of very much live on their own and live off of their wits and ideas and, you know, the long stalk. And so here, that's what's going to be so important to you. That sitting, that watching, the planning, the striking, the going after, the learning, the understanding. And this is divinity helping you open up that road, helping you open up those gifts, that understanding, that deeper knowledge. And it moves you to the 3 of Summer. It moves you to this place, and it's over the strength of heartbreak, pain, disappointment that crowned your heart. It's still going to be what makes you think, I can't be as strong as I want to be, or I can't be as confident as I need to be, because I've messed up before. You show me one person in this world who hasn't messed up, you know. And if they say I've never messed up in my life, they've either lived so safely that it's beyond ridiculous, or they're lying, and that's just it. And so here, the heartbreak, the pain, the disappointment, the anger, the upset, the betrayals, that's what you're looking at. That's what's made your heart. And it's also seeped into your mind. It made you question everything. It's like, how do I move forward? Where is it that I want to be? How can I trust? And it's looking at things, and it's giving it a name. Okay, it's naming it, it's seeing it, and it's owning it. It's saying, no, you don't get to control me. You don't get to own me. You don't get to deny me the happiness that I want. The heartbreak, okay, and the doubt that comes forward. I don't get to live there anymore because I don't want to. And that's a shift that you have happening in your inner self because of a clarity that comes over you, that rings like a bell and sits there and aligns you and says, this is what you want. So if during this time you find one thing, just one thing that you want to focus on, actually that would be really good, Gemini. If you found one thing, and if you sat there and you made this plan and you said, this is the thing that I am focusing on, this is the power that I am calling forward, and then it leads you to the 5 of Cups, the 5 of Summer. It leads you with the heartbreak, the pain, the disappointment, with the prosperity that you are embracing. It leads you to looking at the failures, but sitting there and seeing the healing, beautiful hope that is still with you and saying, this is how I'm moving forward. This is where I want to be. This is my soul. This is my power. This is my essence. This is myself. You change your mind and you change your whole entire life. And it leads you to saying, if I do not balance me, I can never claim my throne. If I'm sitting there juggling everything for everybody else, saying, I have to be this for that person, I have to be this for this person, if I do not balance me, because you're juggling everything, but you're forgetting to balance yourself, then you can't do it. But if you balance yourself and then look at what needs to be done and sit there and say, okay, but it has to be in balance. It has to be in harmony, or else you wind up, sitting there and saying, I can't claim my throne. I can't move forward this way. I can't be in charge. It's just one more responsibility and I don't want it. And that's what the 9 of Swords says, the 9 of Winter. It's the nightmare. It's the doubt. It's the fear. It's being too much in your own head. It's sitting there and saying, of course I'm going to fail. And oh my gosh, I can't move forward this way. And you have the 9 over the 9 here. The 9 of Wands, everybody else's words coming in. The 9 of Thought, the fears of the unknown, the what ifs, and oh my gosh, coming forward. And that 9 starts, it leads you to a place where, yes, you're completing that cycle, but it leads you to facing the darkness before you complete the cycle, before you sit there and you reach the 10, and you reach the freedom, which you are reaching, but it has you looking at things. It's the darkness before the dawn, which is the 10 of Winter, but it's the realizing and the seeing what you are afraid of, what holds you back from your power. Is it, and I know it sounds funny to say, but is it the fear of success? Is it the fear of failure? Is it sitting there and saying, if I have this dream and I conquer these heartbreaks, these pains, these disappointments, and I go after this dream, what if I fail again? And I then have more heartbreaks, more pains, more disappointment. Or what if I succeed? And that becomes the normal then, that everybody wants me to do, something that's taking me years, something that's terrified me at times. What if that becomes the place that I have to live? Is that what I want? And it moves you to the Queen of Cups, loving, comforting, emotional, intuitive. You are looking at things, and this is over the Queen of Cups. You are looking at things and you're sitting there and saying, I need to embrace my empathic understanding. I need to embrace my heart, okay? What I love, what I need. I need to be patient, not only with everybody around me, but with myself. And sometimes, Gemini, you need to not be as patient with the people around you. You need to sit there and say, okay, no, this is what I need. This is who I am. This is what I need to move me forward. And with the Queen of Cups, why I love the King and the Queen of Cups is that they know that they only rule themselves. And that's going to be very powerful for you. I only rule me. I can only move forward in the power that is me. And that leads you to the Queen of Wands over the King of Wands. This is brilliant, loyal, talented, friendly, this connection, this coming together, this greater understanding. It moves you forward in this passion, in this power, in this truth. And you're going to find that you're connecting with your dreams, you're connecting with other people on a very intense and in a very powerful way. And it's opening up your world. It's making you sit there and say, I don't need to be afraid anymore because I'm better at this than I ever thought I could be. And yes, there are going to be times where you fall and you fail. There are going to be times, especially during Mercury retrograde, where communications get jumbled, things get mistaken, things get turned topsy-turvy, but you're going to find that you step out of them stronger than when you went in. And then we have the Nine of Summer, the Nine of Cups. And this is wishes being granted. This is power moving forward. And this is over the Six of Water. This is over when the Six of Cups, when you look at things and you say, no, I cannot be held back by the past. The negativity spoken over me when I was small, when I was scared, when I was vulnerable, does not get to be the way that I live my life and the power that moves me forward. And other people here, Gemini, can see this blessing, can see this power, can see this brilliance much easier than you can. All right? So it's letting yourself walk forward. It's letting yourself see this grace. It's letting yourself be inspired. And it moves you to a place that opens up doors for you. And you're not even going to realize it. You're going to get glimpses of it every now and then, but you're going to think, oh, how silly am I being? But here, it's like you start to see this. You start to see you. And you can't unsee it. Wishes come true. Dreams are fulfilled. And you enter into a magical time of your life. And this is like at the end of the Mercury retrograde. This is within the inner self, not in the self, in the public arena. During this time, you enter into a time where you're like, wow, I can't I? And this is when the subconscious self and the conscious self really start kind of falling into alignment. And you see what your subconscious self wants you to know during the Mercury retrograde, wants to come forward, is telling you in riddles and in rhymes. And you see this as a powerful turning point. And you might not see it now. It might be, years down the road that you're like, wow, that was a powerful time. That was a turning point for me. And you're going to see things really changing, really guiding you in a way that you didn't expect. So let's see what your spirit animals have to say. What are Gemini's spirit animals for Mercury retrograde, January 30th to February 21st, 2021? What are the spirit animals for Gemini during Mercury retrograde, January 30th to February 21st, 2021? What are the spirit animals for Gemini? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, angels and spirit guides. Ooh, my goodness, you have 5. Intense. So we start here with the spider spirit, one of my absolute favorite. Make your dream a reality. You're spinning that web, you're building that story, you're kind of having things come together in a way that you didn't expect. And so you start to make the dreams that you have a reality. And even if people sit there and think, ooh, that's not my cup of tea because, spiders, people are afraid of spiders, you start to see the beauty within it and within you. And so that web is, and that's why at your heart, you have the Queen of Earth. Things are spun together and you start to see the interconnectedness of things that eluded you before. And it leads you then to the koi fish spirit. It says there is always enough. And you're going to start to see that instead of coming from a place of lack, you're coming from a place of bounty. And you're going to be saying to yourself, there is always enough. There is more than enough out there for me. I don't have to come from a place of lack, of doubt, of fear. Divinity will provide. My angels will provide. My spirit guides will guide me. And this can be a fantastic time as you go to sleep, just to connect with your spirit guides, name your spirit guide. If you need to, if that makes you feel more comfortable. My spirit guide's name is Imani, and it's just the name that comes into your head, the name that you feel very comfortable with. And you're going to find here that if you go to sleep saying, spirit guide, please guide my dreams. Please guide me forward to what I need to know. Okay, so you could say, Imani, please guide me forward to what I need to know. Of course, that's my spirit guide's name. It could be yours too, who knows? And you will find that you get a message. You get a message that is powerful for you, that is relevant to you in a way that you hadn't expected. And so here, it's kind of like you could wake up and be like, wow, that was a weird dream. That didn't make any sense. And then when you start to piece the puzzle together, you start to think about it, and it's like, oh, wow, that does make sense. And that is what my heart really wants. And then here we have the seahorse spirit. Watch and wait. Watch and wait as things come together. You're going to want it sooner than it comes, because that's the human nature way. We want things more quickly than it comes, but watch and wait. Be patient. The mouse spirit. Tend to the small things. We always think about life as the big, grandiose things, the big signs of I love you, the big signs of you matter. But it's the small things. It's the person who gets you a cup of coffee when they get up to get themselves one. It's the person that remembers your favorite color, or remembers when you say, oh, wow, I really like this book or this poem, or, something like that, or that's my favorite movie type of thing. It's the small things. It's the small things that make the biggest difference. And it's that remembrance of the small things that build the most solid foundation. And so here, for you, Gemini, during Mercury retrograde, tend to the small things. And you're going to see that the big things kind of just fall into alignment. Or you see that the big things aren't going to be as overpowering once the small things ground you. Because the big thing can weigh a lot more, right? You can think of it as a weight, that can pull you down in one direction. But if you have a whole bunch of small things kind of weighing the same amount, it's kind of like, a ton of feathers and, a ton of rock. One looks bigger than the other, but they both weigh the same. So you can get pulled in balance and in harmony. And then we have the whale spirit. Trust in the great mysteries. We're not supposed to know everything. The mysteries come forward. And the mysteries guide us. Go with the flow. Embrace the song. Embrace a brilliance that is just stunning. And it's just such a part of you. Your subconscious spirit animal message is the armadillo spirit. Set healthy boundaries. Especially during this time, Gemini, you can't be everything to everyone. And you can't expect everything from you. Set healthy boundaries. It leads you to your subconscious person message. The death card. Scorpio energy. Time frame October 23rd to November 21st. This is a sense of walking between the worlds of spirit and the worlds of man. This is a sense of going deeper into what your subconscious wants, into what your soul needs, and you're going to see yourself really looking at things openly, honestly, and behind the veil, behind the lies and the deceits that people tell, and saying, this is my truth, this is where I stand, and this is who I am, and doing so with power and with dignity. Your subconscious chakra message is clarity. This is the heart chakra. This is not the heart chakra, but it affects your heart chakra greatly. It's your third eye chakra. And as your third eye opens to your clarity, you move towards what you love, towards what you need, towards what is so spiritually and personally important to you. There's clarity that comes. It's like, wow, this is where I want to be. This is what I want for my life. Your subconscious tarot message is the Seven of Air, the Seven of Swords. It's gathering up what you need and moving forward. It's leaving things behind that are no longer relevant. And it's saying, I move forward in my power, in my truth, in my understanding. People might think subconsciously, you're being sneaky about things, but you're going to sit there and be like, I don't want to tell everybody this. I don't need to tell everybody this. I move forward in the balance of me. I move forward in the harmony of me. because it's not everybody's business. And then to go deeper into your subconscious message, you have the Five of Swords. This time is karmic for you. The lessons that are brought forward by your subconscious mind are powerful. They are part of a DNA debt, like, DNA curse. They are part of, breaking free of generational chains and, what has been holding you back. And you're going to find that, yes, you're facing things that you think, I don't want to face this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. But you're facing them with dignity of self, with power of purpose, with, ferocity of intention. And you're going to find that you break through a lot of what has held you back for just way too long. All right, Gemini, I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy, as gifts come forward that you hadn't expected, as power builds around you that you hadn't seen before, and as you break yourself free from the negativity of others, and also the hurtful foundation that a lot of lies were built off of, a lot of, misconceptions were built off of, and thinking, oh, I can't do this, when actually you can. And now you start to set yourself free. And now you start to embrace the power that is before you. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Gemini.